Okay, geometry. We are going to take a look at 10.8, the equations of circles. And here is our standard form of the equation of a circle. So the center is at HK and R is the radius. So if I look at this diagram, so here's the center of the circle and this is the radius. And it is just the distance formula. So this point on the circle would be like x, some point on the circle. So it's x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared. Right, would have to equal the radius squared is the standard form. Excuse me. So if we take a look at number 4, it's a pretty straightforward one. So our h would be -1 and our k would be -4. So it's x minus -1, which makes that x plus 1 quantity squared plus, and there'd be y minus -4. So that makes it y plus 4 quantity squared. And then you're going to go ahead and square the radius. So that would be the equation of the circle. On number 6, if the center's at the origin, that would mean h is 0 and k is 0, but you don't really need to write x minus 0 and k minus 0. So it would be x squared plus y squared. Now if the diameter is 4, it means the radius is 2, and 2 squared is 4. And on number 8, if you think about, right, if I think about this, so if the center is at 0, 3, right, and it has to pass through 2, 0. So it has to pass through 2, 0. So that information would give us what the radius is. But if I think about this, right, so I go over 2 and or up 3 and over 2, so like, right, that if this is 3 and this is 2, right, then if I did the Pythagorean theorem, 9 plus 4 is the square root of 13. That's my radius then, right? So there's some circle that goes through that point, and this is the center, right? So if I go from the center to any point on the circle, that's the radius. So our radius is the square root of 13. So we'd have x, I don't really need to write minus 0. Remember, this is h, and this is k. I don't need to write minus 0. So that's x squared plus y, right? But my k is 3, so that's y minus 3. And then if our radius is the square root of 13, then the square root of 13 squared is 13. So if you square a square root, right, the square root of 13 times the square root of 13 is 13. And then the last one we're going to take a look at here is number 10. So I can see from my graph, I can find my center, right? So I go over 1 and I go up 1, 2, oops, sorry, 3. Right, so my center is at 1, 3. And then we can go ahead and count the radius, right? So if I go from the center to any point on the circle, that would be my radius. So our radius has a length of 3. So the equation, right, x minus the x coordinate, so that's x minus 1 quantity squared plus y minus 3. And then you'll go ahead and square the radius, is equal to 9.